Hey there, everybody. I hope you're feeling good today. It is Wednesday, also known as like that hump day. A friend of mine and a boss friend of mine and I were talking the other day, and she said something about working for yourself, and she was like, I work for myself, so that means that I work every day. And I was like, yep, I said that's exactly what I do. And it is farm season at the farm that I work for. And for 6 months, everybody who has anything to do with the farm really does hunker down, and you work every single day for those 6 months. And then, you might have a couple months off, and then it's time to prep for the next season. Now for us, that means like we have a strawberry season that begins in May, but the prep for that really actually starts in March. And of course the farmer preps all year long. He's planting all year long. Anyway, so we don't, it's hump day for some people because they're off on Friday. They're off on Saturday and Sunday, but for us, for we folks that kind of do it every day, then it's just a Wednesday. So happy Wednesday. Yesterday we did, what did we do yesterday? We harvested a magazine. So let's start with that. Harvested a magazine, and this is one of those freebie magazines that you get at the market. And from those images, we pulled together some postcards, and I'll put an iCard up there in the right-hand corner so you can kind of see how these came about and the harvest techniques that we used. I'm all for not really paying a whole lot of attention to harvesting when you're harvesting a magazine. I had absolutely no expectations, no plans at all for the images that I was harvesting. And I think that if you are going to play with flow, and flow does mean allowing your intuition to kind of take over and allowing your eyes to see and figure out exactly what you want to take from a magazine without thinking about it. I think that when we get intuitively in touch with our inner artist, that we come up with some really stellar things. So these are some cards that I came up with from my magazine harvest. I love picking up the magazines in the market because, hey, free art supplies, right? They don't cost a thing. Of course, I would not be a person that would pick up a whole lot. I pick up 2 of each publication simply because I usually harvest one and then I read one. And the one that I read, I usually cut out articles for my mom. So, no need to hoard that kind of stuff. We also started working on a messy book, and I got the first part of the messy book done yesterday, and then decided to stop because it was time to eat supper and make supper and all that kind of stuff. So I thought that we would go back to our messy book project today and see if we couldn't finish that up, as well as starting a flat book. A flat book is so much fun. So I'm gonna talk about this at the end of the video and what we're gonna do with our flat book there. I want to get the pages put together in the messy book. Why are we calling it a messy book? Because it's a mess. It's not really going to be linear. It's going to have a lot of dimension. It's going to have some shape. It's going to have energy. It's going to have flow, our favorite word in the whole wide world. We started with this, it was just a scrap of paper that I decoupaged an elephant napkin onto just because I had an elephant napkin and some decoupage out, some Mod Podge out, and it turned out really well. I did want to bump up the inside of my little book, my messy book, with some, just inspiring bits and bobs, right? So these were headlines that somebody had sent me, and I decided to cut everything up and match it along with my magazine harvest, and this is what I came up with. So this is what we have so far. Today I did an ASMR video. If you don't know what that is, it is a sensory video that is you might hear rain, you might hear wind, I really do like relaxing sounds, and so I have a whole playlist on YouTube of relaxing sounds. But ASMR is audio sensory something, I can't remember the whole name, but anyway, we were doing paper. We were doing my collection of coffee dyed paper, and we were shuffling through it and looking at it and tearing some of it and that sort of thing. An ASMR video typically doesn't have anything but sound on it, so you might want to check that out. It's 16 minutes. It's an easy way to kind of get into your art day, a little bit of focus for you. I really do love doing them in preparation for my other art projects. Let's go ahead and start putting together the signature for our messy book. I had it kind of put together yesterday, and then after I did my ASMR video, I realized that I had some scrappy bits that I wanted to add to it. So let's see what we have so far for this book. I wanted Leonardo and Venice to kind of start it out, but then I realized that I did not, wasn't factoring in any sort of writing pages, and I kind of wanted to do that because, let's be honest, we never know exactly how a book is going to turn out. Any time that you are creating something, whether it's a book, whether it's a painting, whether it's a collage or whatever, you really never know exactly the end picture of that piece of art that you're creating, and that is the strength of the creative process, is not knowing exactly how it's going to end up. And yesterday I thought that I had this all put together, and I thought, well, this is how it's going to end up. And then today I did the ASMR video. I was shuffling through a bunch of coffee dyed papers, and I wanted to do a little more of a magazine harvest, which I did with National Geographic. And then it was like, I kind of want to add some stuff to that. So that's exactly what I did. I just added some writing spaces with coffee dyed paper, coffee dyed notebook paper. This was some coffee dyed paper that didn't turn out, quite the way I wanted it to. And I took it out of the stack of coffee dyed paper that I would typically sell. I should have coffee dyed paper. I should have some of it to sell in the store, in my Etsy shop. At some point, it is coming along nicely. It is a slow art project for me. I love coffee. Chris loves coffee. Sometimes we have coffee twice a day. We definitely always have it in the morning, and sometimes we'll have it in the afternoon. He can drink it at night, but not me. I can't drink caffeinated coffee at night. So we always have coffee grounds. The coffee grounds are put onto lined paper, sometimes just copy paper, sometimes notepad paper, and I sell them in batches when I get a batch ready to roll. I think I'm pretty happy with this arrangement in the messy book. However, I am seeing these little tab things right here that I'm almost thinking are a little too perfect. So what I want to do, I wasn't intending to do this, but what I'm gonna do is kind of pull these back. And I think I'm just going to rip them right there. So it's just a little, it's a little too straight, a little too rigid for my sensibilities right there. Not that I really have any sensibilities. That's not how things work for me. I don't really have a lot of sensibilities. I do have fun when I sit down and do a little project like this. Okay, let's kind of stick that all back in there. Yeah, see, I'm liking that, but I don't like it. I don't like this. So let's do something with that one too. I'll just kind of bend it back and give it a fold. One of my favorite things to do is fold paper. And fold and tear is, to me, a little more preferable over cutting, though cutting is good, and we do it. But I love that torn edge. I love that raggedy kind of, that raggedy look. Because if you're going to make a messy book, it's got to look messy, right? Hey, I'm liking that. That's looking really good. I do see this, but I'm going to leave it because I kind of like it. I kind of like it like that. Yesterday we talked about binding the messy book, and that's what we're going to do today. When I'm looking at this, when I'm standing up looking at it, I really love this raggedy bit and I love this bit, but I don't see a lot of interest at the top here. Let's work on that. Let's kind of reshuffle these pages just a little bit so I can get a little bit of a raggedy-ish thing going on up at the top. I asked you guys to chime in about memberships, and I did have a question from Jane. Hey, Jane. She was asking what the difference was between Patreon and YouTube memberships. I'm no expert, Miss Jane, but what I'm thinking is, to me, now my Patreon is very personal. I talk about things on my Patreon that I do not talk about at all on YouTube. You know, it's very personal. It's really private. It's a small group, and I like it being a small group. It's a loving group and a supportive group. See what we're doing here? We're kind of looking at our messy book, and we're kind of just pulling pages here and there. Now, when we get it all bound, you know, it'll look, these raggedy edges will give the book a lot of interest. We also have to keep in mind that we are binding this, and we have to be sure, that that we're going to kind of catch all our edges. I'm really liking the way that's looking. And kind of pulled some things down, pushed some things up, so we've got, you know, we're getting a little you're going for a messy book, not a neatly bound kind of thing. I like the pages sticking out. We're going to do more of sticking out of the pages as we start to work with our book. Let's grab some floss and let's grab a binding needle. I thought that I already pulled that out. No, I don't know. There it is right there, binding needle. And I'll grab my glasses. Uh-oh. Oh, there they are. And we'll go ahead and get this baby started in the binding department. And then we're going to glue a few more things in it. I'm going to let it dry, kind of see how I'm liking things so far. And then when we get to the end of binding this, then I will talk a little bit about the flat book, the skinny flat book that we're going to do. You will love that idea. It's a lot of fun. It will make you go right down to your kitchen and empty out a pasta box, I can promise you. Okay, we are ready to bond. First thing I need to do is punch some holes in here. I have this gorgeous piece of crochet that Cheryl did. Thank you, Missy. And we're going to punch some holes in here. If you don't have a pokey tool, use a nail. Before I had a proper pokey tool, I had an awl, AWL, that I use for things like this. The kind of difficult part about binding is that part right there. Trying to get the holes all the way through with the pokey tool. So we're going to go through. Now I want my binding not on the outside but on the inside. So we went through one hole in the middle. Whoops. I'm going to have to do that again because I pulled it through. One hole. And one down at the bottom. And then back through. The one in the top. Jennibellies says the best way to remember to do a pamphlet stitch is it's a figure 8. And by golly, it is. Alright, so pull this up. Also, when you do a pamphlet stitch for a book like this, you have to remember that you want a tail on one side and you want a tail on the other side, just like that. Okay? If this video is interesting to you, if you like it and it inspired you and you would like to see more, you can send me a thanks. I get 70% of whatever comes in on the thanks tab, which really does help my bottom line. Little semi-retired girl here. Okay, so there we got our binding all taken care of. Now let's look at the book, see what we're thinking. Let's put our binding needle back before we lose it. By we, I mean me. Okay. I like the way this page came out, don't you? With the Leonardo and the moth here. It's fun. You can see the way the pages are very staggered. Love it. I think what I'll do here is probably make a pocket out of that. I like the writing pages or the drawing pages or whatever you want to do. I like the lined pages. To me, this looks like a book that someone would make during an apocalyptic time. It almost has a dystopian type feel to it, as something, you know, dystopia is after the apocalypse, which could happen any day now. Something that is just cobbled together, which, you know, that's my thing. That's really what I like. We're going to just do a little bit of decorating this journal. We'll probably do a little bit more as it kind of evolves. And isn't it fun to have something that is typically thought of as static, which is a book, and be able to make that thing have some movement and energy and fun. I kind of just like that. So, but I do love this, so I want to put it somewhere. We've got our Dick Blick glue stick. Again, I'm using images from the magazine harvest that we did yesterday. Going back to the Patreon thing and the, look at all these headlines. That's, to me, that is the biggest difference, you know, when we're talking about Patreon, and the difference between Patreon and YouTube memberships. It's just a different experience. Does that fit? No, it doesn't. Do I like the words? Yes, I do. It says ticket to a different, and we're just going to use it exactly the way it is. We're not going to cut it. We're not going to try and make it fit, because what's the fun in that? Now, see, we've got that little thing sticking out right here, which looks fun. But I might put the word C over it. Just like that. Because I saw St. Mark's Square. It was not flooded when I was there, but it was pre-staged with scaffolding that people could walk on in case it flooded, because flooding is, you know, just like one of those really typical things that happen there. I like this thing that says Secret Garden, so I think we'll use that too. I think I cut that out of a magazine at some point. All right, do we want anything here? Let's do It's Your World. And by golly, just like that, with this, with the gluing of just a few things, you've got a prompted art journal. Isn't that fun? We could do Make It up here. And write Your Paradise right here. It's so lovely. I feel like I want something here. I think this looks good right here. I like that. 64. We are in the seasons of change for sure. Raise your hand if you're 64. Raise your hand if you're 50. Raise your hand if you're 30. Raise your hand if you're 64 but you feel 30. I'm raising my hand. My head feels 30, but my body feels 85. I'm not kidding. I'm laughing, but I'm really crying on the inside. Okay. And I said I wanted to kind of make a pocket out of that. I think, I'll probably do that with washi tape. That seems like a better idea. Oh, not ready. Why isn't anyone ready? Remember that from The Devil Wears Prada? No one's ready. Not ready. Life. Do that right there. So I'm just shuffling through here to see what I see. I think these are images that I cut out of a magazine a while back. So I can write right here. Just make a small little writing space. Right there. Perfect. This is another piece that I made from our little magazine, Harvest. This book smells good too. It smells like coffee. Let's do some little stick out pieces right there. Kind of looks like a tab, or a Jennibellies calls that a juicy edge. I'm not thinking a whole lot about this. Some purple. But I don't really dig that next to the galaxy image. Okay, I just need a word here. Oh, I could use this. Highly encourage this sort of play, y'all. It's refreshing and invigorating, and you don't have to worry that you are making something that you need to compare to somebody else's thing. And try to make it exactly like their thing, because it's your thing. It is your thing, my friends. Stick a little bit of edging right on here. Again, Jennibellies Juicy Edges. If you have not checked that video out, I will try and find it and link it in the description box below. It will elevate whatever it is you're doing, and you'll have a lot of fun with that process. I think I'll do that. Kind of just looking at colors and the feel of what I'm doing, because I do love just the feel. Maybe this little spread right here could be a gratitude for the cycle of nature spread. This is going to fit great right here, and I like the colors all together. Okay, let's do this one last thing, and then we'll talk about our flat book and how you can run down to your kitchen tonight, or when you're making dinner tonight, and use that empty pasta box, or use that empty rice box. Chris and I were talking today. We had to go to the market, and we were like, wow, everything is packaged, everything's in a box. You know, it used to be like you would you know, way back when, everything was you know, loose. Like if you bought oatmeal, it was loose. If you bought flour, it was in a you know, was in like a barrel, and you scooped it out. I mean, we're talking a lot like Wild West days, right? All right, we're gonna stop right there. And I'm really loving the chunky nature of this. I'm loving the very random nature of it. I'm loving that it is mine, that I made it out of scraps. I'm really just really digging my little messy book. Let's talk about a flat book for a minute. Now, basically a flat book starts out as a box, okay? Most of my bestest art projects start out as box. So this was a old El Paso dinner kit. Don't recommend. No stars. Wasn't very good. But the box was super intriguing. Yes, I have been known to buy food products just to get to a box before. And the thing that you're going to do is you're going to flatten the box by just, you know, pulling the tabs out and everything like that. Then you fold the tabs back in like this. And this is best done when you know, the box is kind of popped out. So we fold the tabs back in. Next video, I'll show you how to tape these inside the box, and I'll also show you a way to flip the box and make it into a blank box. And then we're gonna do the same thing over here. Just like that. And then push everything together. Now this is going to be taped, you know, when next time we tackle a flat book. And then you fold it just like this, and then just score it as best you can. You know, you do have to kind of wiggle it around a little bit and try to get a good crease right here for your spine. Okay, and what we do with this is it turns into a book, and we're going to put a signature in the middle, but you also have a pocket here and a pocket here. So it makes it a really nice receptacle for things like a harvest, you know, a magazine harvest, or, you know, for a little hoarded journal of your very favorite secret supplies. Maybe it is a secret journal. But we're gonna talk about that later on this week. Thank you for joining me as we finished our messy book. I would love to know if you are doing a messy book and how it is working out for you. Remember to stay with the flow, and it makes you go, go, go. There, I made a rhyme. Okay, see you later.